Standing Simmer here today, coming at you for another installment of my Base Game Plus or Limited Packs build series. This, of course, is a series that we've been doing every Thursday here on the channel, and I just love it so much because it's given me the opportunity to do so many cool new build styles and just experiment with new types of furniture and things that I don't normally reach for in the game. I always feel like I have to kind of like put that introduction in when we start a new episode of this series because that's mainly the reason why I want to do this series. I really like the part of it that allows me to use all these new cool items that I tend to kind of skip over when it comes to just regular old building. Like, for example, earlier in the week, I put up a build which was my light and bright Suburban. And in that build, I was just not hesitant at all to just reach for whatever, like all of my more commonly featured items, I guess you could say. And so it's always fun to kind of experiment with different styles and to kind of challenge yourself, which is, of course, the goal that I have for myself in this series. So let me tell you a little bit about what we're doing today, and then we'll get on to just chatting about whatever we decide to chat about through the course of this voiceover. So you may have already been able to tell based on the fact that we are building in an apartment that one of the packs that I use in this build is City Living. And I know, we just did a City Living build for this series. It's been at least 2 weeks ago now, possibly 3, for my Find Your Forte Art Center, which you, of course, can go and check out if you would like. But of course, that wasn't an apartment as well. And so I kind of halfway needed an apartment for something that I'm playing in my personal time. If you guys are keeping up with my Lyrics Legacy Challenge, it is for one of the Sims that I have in that challenge. And I kind of needed to build an apartment anyway. And I haven't really done an apartment here in a bit. And so, and of course, like I said, the last Limited Packs build series build that we did using City Living was not in an apartment. So I felt like it was kind of safe to go ahead and just use City Living again. So I hope you guys don't mind that it's like a repeat offender, more or less, that it was just used a few weeks ago. But of course, this is a kind of a totally different context, more or less. So City Living, definitely one of the packs that we are using today so that I could get my hands on an apartment. And then another of the packs I'm using is Spa Day. So we're using an expansion pack, a game pack, and a stuff pack for today's build. So Spa Day is the game pack. And then the stuff pack that we're using is Vintage Glamour Stuff. And so based on the items I've kind of already been placing down, you may have guessed that already. But guys, these items go really, really well together. Like, I don't know if I actually set off kind of intending that, but I knew that I wanted to create an apartment that had I was going for luxury, but I was also wanting like the sleek Zen style of a lot of the Spa Day items, especially like those windows. Oh my gosh, those gorgeous kind of slotted windows. I love those so much. And I knew I wanted to use those in this apartment because they have the taller wall height. And so all of those things kind of worked to my advantage and allowed me to put them to good use in this apartment. At least I think so. So even though I kind of set off knowing that I wanted to use those packs for a certain number of items, I still feel like that at the end I have ended up using a lot of items that I wouldn't normally have used. So by now, you might not necessarily think that, but by the time we get to the end of the build, then I have challenged myself and kind of used a whole bunch of different types of items. And I really, really like the way that this apartment turns out. I mean, big surprise, I always say that, but it is definitely the case in this apartment for sure. Actually, I have already been using it for my own personal gameplay for the reason that I mentioned a little while ago. You guys won't see any of that gameplay if you're keeping up with my current household, the Song family. You guys won't see any of that for at least a week or two, possibly, because I'm just that far ahead in my own current household gameplay. It's kind of awful, honestly. I know that some of you watching this video right now, you're not here for my current household updates. You're here for the build, for crying out loud. Mariah, stick to the build. But just for a second, I promise I'll get off of it here in just a second. But yeah, I built it for a member of that current household, and I've really enjoyed playing in it so far. So it is fully functional because I not only player tested it like for the purpose of uploading it, but I've actually been living with the sim in this apartment. And so everything works no problem whatsoever. And it's just a beautiful apartment, guys. Like those massive windows that line like all of those exterior walls on this lower floor and the upper floor too, to be fair, they're just so beautiful. And right about like 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the sim day, the lighting in this, the lighting is gorgeous. It's so pretty. And yeah, so it's just a very nice apartment to play in. I've really enjoyed doing so. And I think it really fits the style of the person that I kind of had intended it for to begin with. To be fair, of course, I'll talk about this probably more when I get to addressing the member of the current household, you know, in a few weeks in that update, which again, you guys don't have to hear me talk about right now if you don't want to, but oh my goodness. Again, traffic. We just need like a buzzword, like a little like secret code word for, you know, when there's big old bunch of traffic on the road outside my house. Like that way I don't have to always say, guys, you know, I live right next to a road that's always noisy for some reason, and you know, the traffic. So yeah, we need to come up with some sort of code word. If you have an idea for something like that, let me know in the comments. And then, you know, as we go, I can just say that word, and new viewers will probably be like, what is that? What is she talking about? But you guys will be like, yeah, I understand, Mariah, traffic, I got you. So let me know if you have an idea for a code word. Yes, so that was that, a little bit of traffic there. Sorry about that. But I don't, gosh, seriously, I lose my train of thought so easily. It's ridiculous. To be fair, it is kind of first thing in the morning for me. I am just kind of bumming around here at my house for a couple of hours, and then I have to go to work this afternoon and later into the evening. And so this is just the first real bit of talking that I'm doing in the day. And it's really particularly easy for me to lose my train of thought first thing in the day compared to later in the day. Even though, like, as my brain starts to get tired at the end of the day, it gets kind of bad that way as well, but I don't know. So yeah, just bear with me as I'm trying to, you know, stay on focus, on topic for like 14 or 15 minutes while we record those voiceover. But I believe I was talking a little bit about the sim that I was going to have living in this apartment, and there are elements of this apartment that I put together, such as the more luxurious and like up and coming type style that I knew would fit their personality, like right off the bat. But then since I've been playing in this apartment, I've kind of molded their personality to fit like the more Zen elements as well. And this will all make a lot more sense to you guys when I update you on that particular sim. So again, I'm not going to talk about it for ages and ages now, but it's just been kind of cool to play in this apartment. And so, you know, hands down, can recommend. The only thing about this apartment that's kind of funky is that it is only a 1-bedroom apartment. And I don't really ever do that, to be honest with you. Like I like, especially with these larger apartments. I mean, tiny apartments like, you know, Penny Pizzazz's apartment, which I did do a renovation on like weeks and weeks and weeks ago by now. Little apartments like that, it's kind of understandable that it might only end up being 1 bedroom. I've seen people make that apartment multiple bedrooms, which is amazing. But for the most part, single bedroom there is kind of okay, right? But then in an apartment like this, it's so big that I really could have put in more than 1 bedroom. But I really, really wanted that loft style up on the upper floor that you'll end up seeing here again more in just a minute. And so it really didn't allow me much more space, I guess you could say, to put in a second bedroom. If I wanted to do some major like renovations to this again to maybe allow for this sim to have a family in this apartment, you know, that will probably be no issue whatsoever, or we can just move them into a different apartment. But as of right now, you know, single sim living in the city and a single bedroom apartment is no problem. So yeah, that's the only kind of weird thing about this apartment that's a little different than what I normally tend to do, because like I've mentioned this before, but I like to play with families in my game. Very rarely, or not for very long, do I have single sims. They're almost always like immediately getting into relationships and having babies. Like that's pretty common in my gameplay. So it's not common for me to need a single bedroom for any great length of time. So yeah, it's not as common for me to do something this large and to only make it single bedroom. But in case you have, you know, a single sim who, or a couple, to be fair, because obviously the bed, you'll see this later, but the bed can easily fit 2 sims. You know, it's accessible on both sides. So if you have like a single sim or maybe a power couple who just needs a really nice apartment to live in, then this is it, guys. This is a good one for you to pick. So I have mentioned the packs that I use to put together this apartment, and I mentioned the style and all that good stuff, but I did want to tell you that this was built in it's IX or 9 Landgraab over in Uptown, of course, which I'm kind of proud of myself. To date on the channel, I've done 2 apartments in Uptown, and I know it's not a ridiculously common place for simmers to do a lot of apartment renovations. Typically, I see apartment renovations in all of the other districts pretty frequently, except Uptown. And that is because obviously the apartments are just so big. Oh, they're so big. And like they have a lot of, like with the windows lining the walls in a lot of the locations where they are, it's hard to section off the rooms so that it looks fairly functional and all that good stuff. So yeah, anyways, that was kind of a weird little like ramble type thing there on the side, but I don't see a ton of building over in Uptown. And to be honest with you, I actually love seeing these apartments redone because I think that they look really cool, and I like to see how different simmers put their spin on a floor plan, because again, they're all kind of like weirdly shaped and it's hard to section them off appropriately. And so I always like to see people's, takes on that sort of thing. So yeah, that's what we're doing today over in IX or 9 Landgraab. And of course, when I uploaded this to the gallery, I had to do so in 2 parts. So there's a floor 1 and a floor 2. There really aren't any walls in this build except for the bathrooms. So before I uploaded it, I just removed one of the walls behind the door in each of the bathrooms, and then uploaded them each as a floor. So I think at the time I was calling it like the luxurious retreat apartment or something along those lines. So that's where you'll find it on my gallery. I've since decided to call it Zen Luxury, which I just think kind of like rolls off the tongue a little bit better, even though Zen and luxury to me kind of seem like they could possibly be like oxymorons as far as terms go, because I know that, now correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't ascribe to be like, to have like a Zen lifestyle or to pursue that sort of thing. I mean, I try, I don't want to be crazy, that's for sure. But I know that some people really take that calmness seriously in their lives, and would be more likely to do things like meditation and yoga and to appreciate the spiritual aspect of that. But I know that Zen and luxury could possibly be kind of warring terms, because if you are content with your life, then maybe luxury isn't something that you would pursue quite as heavily, but perhaps you already have the means by which to have a luxurious apartment, and then you also ascribe to a more Zen lifestyle. And then, this apartment would probably fit that kind of person or sim pretty well. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. You guys let me know what you think and who you think might live in this apartment. I always like to hear those sorts of things, because you guys are like almost always way more creative than I am, which is really cool. So I like to hear your ideas as you give them to me. So yes, that is what we're doing in this apartment today. Like I said, it's on the gallery. My ID is Standing Simmer, and I always put these builds and apartment renovations and all the other good stuff under the hashtag Standing Simmer as well, because that way you guys can have one more way by which to access the apartment. So of course, when you place the apartment, if you choose to do so, you would have to place them again as 2 floors, but also replace the stairs, because those just go away entirely when you place these as 2 rooms. So guys, we're already on the screenshots. Oh my gosh, that went by so quickly. But I hope you enjoyed the build, the apartment renovation. I've really, like I said, enjoyed playing in it so far. So if you choose to download it, I hope you do too. I appreciate you guys tuning in today. You guys are awesome. I love you guys so much. Anyways, I will see you in my next video, whenever that might be. I hope you're having the best of days, and I will see you very soon. Bye. I'm so